Hello and welcome. You are watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Vuhai. First, this hour, Ukraine strongly opposes violation of human rights as regards its citizens' residents of the Crimea. These days, the Rostov-on-Don court is examining the case of recently detained Crimean Tatar activists, journalists and civil rights advocates. 8 Crimean Tatars have been accused of organizing and participating in a terrorist organization. The incriminated guild lies in their visiting a mosque and keeping religious literature at home. According to the President's office, Ukraine is trying hard to free the political prisoners held in the temporarily occupied territories of Donbas, the next Crimea, and in Russia. Ukraine expects to receive $100 million for the restoration of Donbas in the nearest future. The loan is provided by the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The funds will be used to restore the destroyed infrastructure on the contact line in Donetsk and Luhansk regions. At the meeting, the Cabinet of Ministers adopted resolutions that will help speed up the loan processing.
Це 100 мільйонів.
$100 million will be used to rebuild areas affected by Russian aggression in eastern Ukraine. Relevant resources can be used primarily to improve the transport infrastructure, as well as support the restoration of the agricultural sector in Donetsk and Luhansk regions.
Luhansk region has been recognized as one of the best regions in terms of quality of the works under the state big construction program. By the beginning of a new school year, a half-dozen schools, kindergartens and stadiums were renovated. Our reporters examined the conditions under which children will now study in villages adjoining the contact line.
An 11th grader Sofia didn't recognize her school on September 1st, since the educational institution has been totally renovated.
As I haven't been here for a long time, I did not even recognize my school first because it looks so nice and well lit. I like the new design, it looks very modern.
The walls of the school got insulated, doors and windows replaced and the foundation strengthened. The renovation cost 7 million hryvnias. Similar upgrade has been made in a neighboring educational institution.
It looks perfect outside and it is much better now, plus it became warmer and more comfortable. Before the reconstruction, the temperature in classes was under 16 degrees Celsius. As the result of insulation, it will rise up to 19-20 degrees Celsius, which is a standard norm.
Lysychansk school number 14 has also been renovated. The walls insulated and the roof repaired. The Knowledge Day celebrations were held only for the 1st and 11th grades here.
Each class will have a separate entrance for the kids not to intersect anywhere. Each class will go up to their levels and stay there for the whole school day. We adjusted the breaks time. Some children will have a break while others still study. There will be only 2 classes in the building so far. As soon as the weather is warm, they can walk outside and have their classes in the open air.
5 kindergartens, schools and stadiums were repaired in the Luhansk region under the Big Construction State program. A sports ground in the Kremensk Cadets Corps will be open to all residents of the city. In their pastime, children and youth like to get involved in various outdoor activities. They need to move, and our task is to help them remain active. Recently, a monitoring group from the Ministry of Regional Development visited us. According to the results of their inspection, the Luhansk region ranks among the top 3 in terms of facilities quality. By the end of the year, 5 hospitals' reception rooms will get renovated in the region as well. Reported by Roman Smolar, UATV News.
Aleksei Navalny was poisoned with a nerve agent. This was stated by the German authorities. The results of Navalny's blood test showed the presence of a Novichok-class poison. The tests were carried out in a special German military laboratory, with the permission of the Charité clinic. Traditionally, the Kremlin denies poisoning of the oppositionists. The German government qualifies this case as an attempt on Navalny's life and is waiting for clarification from the Russian authorities. Berlin plans to report the blood test results to the European Union and NATO and agree on a joint response. Russia's ambassador to Germany is to give explanations at the country's foreign ministry.
We now know that it was an attack with a chemical nerve agent. This makes it all the more urgent that those responsible in Russia be identified and held accountable. We condemn this attack in the strongest terms. We will now also inform our European Union and NATO partners through the attendant channels about the latest findings. We will discuss with them in the coming days how Europe can adequately react to this. Our decision will also depend on what action Russia now takes.
Russian opposition leader Aleksei Navalny got sick on board of a plane on August 20th. During a flight from Tomsk to Moscow, the plane made an urgent landing in Omsk, where the politician was taken to a local hospital. On the second day after hospitalization, he was evacuated for treatment to Berlin at the request of his family and in agreement with the German government. He is still at the Charité clinic. Aleksei Navalny remains in an induced coma since August 20th. The trial of journalists in Minsk. Yesterday night, the Belarusian police forces detained another group of reporters, allegedly under the plea of the document check. But those who did not give their materials will now be held accountable in the court for alleged participating in the rallies. Details next.
More than 6 dozens of protesters were detained on September 1st in Minsk. Most of them were released soon, but there are several people who had to spend restless night in the isolation wards. There are students, factory workers, and journalists here. Their colleagues stayed near the Oktyabrski district department of the Internal Affairs overnight, and today they are covering the trail.
So what did they write about him in charge sheet?
Article 10 on public events.
So what exactly was written in the protocol?
I will not disclose. We need the consent of the client. They say that initially the journalists had been stopped for documents check. And in this footage, the journalist crew is being detained right during the Sput broadcast. Yesterday, students of Minsk universities joined the national-wide strike. The security forces have disrupted their processions several times. Women came out of the central square to support the youth. The evening rally went calmly. During the 3 weeks of protests in Belarus, more than 7,000 protesters have been taken to police events. The UNO claims 450 documented cases of torture and ill treatment of detainees after the August 9 elections. Reported by Yamin Khaddour, UATV News.
Kyiv residents paid tribute to Nina Bocharova, Ukraine's first Olympic champion. The athletic gymnast passed away at the age of 96. She won 4 medals at the Olympic Games in 1952 in Helsinki. Watch more details about her life path in the following report.
10 was Nina Bocharova's favorite number. This is the maximum score athletic gymnasts can get for a performance. Alena Hontz, Nina Pocharova's friend and colleague, recalls the USSR championship held in 1949 in Kyiv.
Nina Bocharova won this championship among adults. I won the same competition among juniors.
In 1952, Nina Bocharova joined the Soviet national team, which competed in the Olympic Games for the first time. But she had all the chances not to get on the list. At the qualifiers, the gymnast made a small mistake while performing the exercise. The coach asked her to cry to evoke sympathy in the judges. However, Nina refused to cry. try. On the contrary, she firmly promised to bring a medal from Helsinki.
Nina меня будила каждое утро.
Nina woke me up every morning at 5:30, and until 6:30, we walked on a balance beam from which I never fell in my sports life, and this is all thanks to Nina.
At the Helsinki Olympic in 1952, Nina Bocharova won both team and individual gold medals and 2 silvers. Having survived hunger and war, she won 2 gold and 2 silver Olympic medals. She is the world champion and multiple Soviet Union champion. She made her mark on the gymnastics history. Nina Bocharova's most prominent exercise was a full split on the uneven bars. Previously, no one in the world dared to do this. Long after the end of her career, the athlete remained vigorous and active.
Подъем в 5 часов.
I always wake up at 5 o'clock. In past years, I used to do my beam exercises at that time. Later, I had to replace it with simpler morning exercises. Well, I'm not as strong as I was before. Unfortunately, doctors do not allow me any physical activity.
Reported by Yamin Khaddour, UATV News.
That was our final story this hour. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages.